I hope everybody has joined. Ed, are you ready to go?
Yep, all good to go.
Okay, so actually we have sent to 50 participants for this workshop, but I guess now how many? Okay, we can begin. I think they may join later. We can begin now. So, good evening, everyone. I am Pankaj Patel. I extend a warm welcome to all participants, those who have joined us today for this workshop. This for 4 days online workshop on advanced Excel and Power BI, organized by the ResearchWise, and we are absolutely delighted to see such enthusiastic participation from diverse academic and professional background. We got application from public health, social sciences, such as social work, anthropology, political science, and even a few have applied, those who are pursuing commerce and economics. So it's really great, and we are happy to accommodate 50 participants for this workshop. This workshop has been carefully designed to provide practical learning into Excel-based data management and visualization using Power BI. And these tools are basically essential in those who are working in the social field of social sciences and policy analysis, even those who are even professionally those who are working in the field of development sectors. So before we begin, let me briefly introduce about the ResearchWise for those who are new to us. So at ResearchWise, basically ResearchWise is a policy think tank and research consultancy firm. We work at intersection of social demography, social sciences, public health, impact evaluation, survey, and evidence-based policy design. So this workshop is also part of our ongoing effort to build a capacity in the data analysis to enhance his skill set for early career professional and researcher, PhD scholars. And we are very happy, and our great pleasure that we have today with us Dr. Soumya Paul for the inaugural address for this workshop, 4 days online workshop. And Dr. Soumya Paul is an economist and public policy researcher. He has expertise in econometrics, environmental economics, and data analysis. He holds a PhD degree in public policy from IIM Bangalore. He is currently working as assistant professor of economics at Korea University, Chennai, and he's also a fellow at the Global Labor Organization. So thank you so much, Soumya sir, for accepting our invitation and joining today with us for this workshop for your inaugural address. And I would like to invite you for addressing this to all participants. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Pankaj. And first of all, many congratulations to Pankaj, Het, and others who are associated with ResearchWise. It's a great initiative, and I'm very happy to see that young demographers and public health scientists are also into entrepreneurship. So, and it gives me great pleasure that the value they are adding to the for the youngsters who are particularly interested in this domain is unparalleled. So, congratulations for that, and thank you for inviting me onto this platform. I think Pankaj has already graciously introduced me, but I think the most important introduction right now is that I am also an alumni from International Institute for Population Sciences. Spent quite a lot of time during my master's and MPhil, and learned a bunch of all technical analysis, data, softwares from IAPS. So it has been a great learning journey. But I remember when I started in 2017, it was still a pretty new thing. I remember I wrote my first master's thesis in 2015 and 2015-16, and I had no idea how to use Excel data. I mean, we are trained for that, but actually implementing it and writing your thesis with it is still a very challenging job. And unfortunately, at that time, there was no guidance. The only guidance we had was our seniors. So, but there was no formal platform where we can go and talk about that. Okay, can you help me out in this, or can you train me? So I believe research wise is doing that, and kudos to all the participants as well that you understood the value of learning Excel and Power BI. So I think Pankaj has already emphasized the role of knowing Power BI and Excel when you are interested in development sector or policy sector. But on top of that, since I am coming from a business school, I would also like to add that all the MBA candidates around me, the one skill which they want to learn first is Excel and Power BI. You take any big corporations, starting from investment banking to e-commerce, everybody needs good Excel skills, advanced Excel skills. And on top of that, let's say if you are interested in working in corporate sustainability, it's called as CSR initiatives, uh, you deal with so much data on a day-to-day basis that it becomes almost impossible to present everything or get a conclusion out of it if you can't analyze it properly. Uh, but unfortunately, our school curriculum or even college curriculum emphasizes on the theoretical part, but very less on how to actually apply it. So I hope in the next few days you will learn a lot. And if you are still confused that why you are here and should you really put effort in learning this, I must tell you that after finishing your college, at whatever stage you are, either you are a PhD or a master's student, if you are interested in working as a monitoring evaluation specialist, either in development or policy sector or in corporate, or if you are interested in working as a data analyst, Excel is the go-to tool. Even if you are very much capable in Stata, R, or SPSS, keep this in mind that access to all these softwares are in general not very easy in a corporate setup. But Excel is very readily available for everyone. So it's a very important skill, and I hope some of my 2 cents about why to learn this will keep you motivated throughout. And I believe you have excellent set of instructors from research wise to guide you and help you through this learning. So keep up the good work. uh, Please stay in touch. If you still have any doubt you want to discuss, I'm happy to talk about it. You can reach out to me on LinkedIn. You can drop me an email. So yeah, so with that, I would like to conclude and not take much of your time, because this is the time to learn Excel, not to hear some old professor. Right? So all the best, and all the best to the instructors as well. I hope you had a nice workshop, and kudos. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Paul. How can I forget that you are also trained from IAPS? I think I should have mentioned that also. No, we cannot forget IAPS, because whatever we have learned in the field of demography and data and even the different statistical tool, that is all given from IAPS. We have trained in IAPS. Thank you so much for your insightful words and always supporting for this initiative. We truly value your presence, and thank you so much for joining today. And now, moving ahead, I would like to introduce our today's resource person, Head Disa. So, Head Disa is a IBM certified data science and operations research professional. He has more than 5 year experience 5 years of experience in the health information management and advanced analytics. He is proficient in advanced Excel that he is going to teach today, and SQL, Python, R, and Power BI. And we are very confident that his hands-on approach and experience will make this workshop engaging, enriching for all of you. And thank you so much, Heath, for accepting our invitation to train our participants. Thank you so much. And with that, I invite you to begin with today's session. Over to you, Heath.
Thank you, Pankaj. First of all, just to confirm, can you guys hear me? Um,
Yeah, you are audible.
you able to?
You are
Okay,
audible. Yeah.
perfect. Perfect. Yeah, so thank you, Pankaj, for inviting me. It's an honor, first of all, to be invited by your organization, and also to be introduced by Soumyapal Bhaiya is also a huge honor. Um, so yeah, welcome everyone. So as Soumyapal Bhaiya said, Excel is somewhat of a forgotten tool. It's when you think of Excel, you don't generally think of advanced data analytics. But I promise you, wherever you go, whichever field you work in, Excel still remains the primary tool that is used for not only data analysis but also data visualization and to disseminate information. That's it. Let's get started. Let me just try to share my screen. I'm just going to share my entire screen.
Heath, do we need to
Yeah.
share data with participant?
Yeah. Pankaj, I've sent you an email. It will be great if you could
Okay, okay. So,
share that. Yeah.
okay, so few instructions I would like to. Already we have shared that through email and WhatsApp group, but even though if you have any question, you can always drop your questions in chat box. Either you can raise your hand, and because we have a constraint of time, so hey, please, if you can first, go your whatever you have content in your PPT. Later, you can address those questions one by one. Or if you feel that in between your lecture, if you want to address them, it's totally up to you.
Okay. Perfect. Yeah. Yeah, let's do it that way then. We'll take the questions at the end. We'll just start with the session. We'll have a little bit of a working session and then we can take questions at the end. So yeah, welcome everyone. This is the Advanced Excel and Power BI workshop. And yeah, Pankaj already introduced me very generously, so I don't think I need an extended introduction. Yeah, so I am also an alumni of International Institute of Population Sciences. And yeah, I've been working since the past 5 years in the field of health data management, operations research, and I work with various health authorities and the Ministry of Health out here in British Columbia, Canada. If you can't tell, it's 5 a.m. for me, so forgive my voice. So my contact information is right there. Throughout this session, if you have any questions, you can ask me. If you don't have any questions and if you just want to connect, my LinkedIn's right there. So yeah, let's get started. Now, I have been introduced, but I don't know much about you guys. So we'll start with an introductory session not of me, but of the group. And then we'll start looking into the different referencing, why we do referencing, and what referencing tools we can use. And then I'll go deep into the working session. I'll show you how to use these tools and how to answer research questions using these tools. Okay, so it's time for a fun exercise. Everyone on your phone, if you could go to menti.com. It's a website. Just type it in. Just type in your browser menti.com and go there. Once you are on menti.com, just use this code 33462021. Let me know if you have any questions, any trouble. But yeah, just go to menti.com and use on your phone and just use this code. Oh, perfect. Looks like we are starting to get some responses. So yeah, the first question is, what language of delivery would you prefer? And I can see many of you Yeah, I'm seeing some responses that people would like bilingual. Most of you prefer English. So yeah, oh, great. We're starting to get some responses are flying in. Okay. Okay. It seems like most of you are comfortable with English at this point. If you're not, you definitely want to go there. Some people would like it bilingual. So yeah, मैं कोशिश करूंगा कि मैं दोनों languages में करूं. Um, I will start in English and then I'll repeat it in Hindi if that works with everyone. Then because yeah, it seems like many of you would prefer bilingual. So yeah, we'll just do it that way then. Okay. Okay, so that helps me a lot. So yeah, we'll just go down the bilingual route. I'll mainly do it in English and then I'll repeat it in Hindi. मैं एक बार इंग्लिश में करूंगा और फिर हिंदी में रिपीट करूंगा उस चीज को. Okay.
Hate, I would suggest that bilingual would be great because we have participants from basically social science background, and if you yeah, bilingual would be great, I guess.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, perfect. So I also want to know what you do currently. आप अभी क्या करते हैं वो भी मैं जानना चाहता हूँ. If you're a student, you're a research fellow, you're a professional, this helps me figure out how to approach this session. इससे मैं समझ पाऊंगा कि आप किस तरह मैं किस तरह इस सेशन को अप्रोच करूं. Okay, big chunk of our participants are students, it seems. कुछ research fellows भी हैं और कुछ professionals भी हैं. It seems like that's majority of the group. Okay, great. So it seems like most of you are either students or research professionals, research fellows. Yeah, that is very helpful. If in order to actually work with Excel, I want to know what comes to your mind when you think about Excel. So कोई भी एक word जो भी आपके दिमाग में आता है, when you think about Excel, I want to learn more about that. आप अगर cell, okay, yeah, it's pretty element. Data entry, data tables, scary. It's not scary. Trust me, it's not scary. Excel उतना डरावना नहीं है. It is one of the primary tools that is used out in the world, even though it doesn't get differentiated results. Conditional formatting, pretty good. Row column, charts. Basically a data management software, and I can see that yeah, so one thing that I did not see here, which I would like to mention from my side, is innovation. Excel is in itself an innovation. The way we think of Excel is not exactly the way we use Excel academically. हम जिस तरह से Excel को academics में use करते हैं, Excel का scope उससे कहीं ज़्यादा बड़ा है. Excel is much bigger than that. आप उसके अंदर SQL data pull कर सकते हो, आप referencing कर सकते हो, आप काफी कुछ कर सकते हो with Excel. आप अपना data present भी Excel के साथ कर सकते हो. The modern tools, SQL, Python, SQL, SPSS और Stata, जो भी डेटा मैनेजमेंट के लिए यूज किए जाते हैं, इनमें से कुछ टूल्स एक्सेल के साथ भी यूज किए जा सकते हैं. ओके, फाइनल क्वेश्चन. मैं ये जानना चाहता हूँ कि आपके पास कितना एक्सपीरियंस है एक्सेल के साथ. मतलब किस लेवल पे आप एक्सेल के साथ काम करते हो, या सिर्फ बेसिक मैथमेटिकल इक्वेशंस यूज करते हो, इफ स्टेटमेंट्स करते हो, एरे मैनिपुलेशंस करते हो. काफी लोग लुकअप्स, काफी लोग बिगिनर्स हैं हमारे साथ. ओके, कई लोग एडवांस भी है जो लुकअप्स और पिवट टेबल्स यूज करते हैं, तो दैट इज गुड. So it seems like we have a chunk of our group that is using Excel on an elementary level, and we also have a chunk of our group which is using it as at an advanced level. So just as a heads up for the group that is using Excel at an advanced level, this is going to be more of a refresher session. Especially today is going to be a refresher session because today our entire session is going to be on lookups. That being said, I think we are ready to jump in. So let's jump in. Introduction, a brief introduction to lookups. कब use किए जा सकते हैं? Whenever we are working with large data sets, especially data sets that are either that are cross-sectional in nature, या फिर कोई भी publicly available data set है जिसके साथ एक reference table साथ में दिया हुआ है, और and you need to look up या फिर आपको एक particular ID को reference करना है दूसरी ID के साथ, तब आप lookups use कर सकते हैं. Lookups का main benefit होता है कि ये आपको data sets combine करने में, अगर आपके पास मान लीजिए फॉर एग्जाम्पल, बिकॉज वी आर गोइंग टू यूज दिस, 2023 का डेटा है और 2024 का डेटा है, और दोनों डेटा सेट्स में आपके पास एक कॉमन आईडी, और इन दोनों डेटा सेट्स में कुछ चेंजेस हुए, पर आपको सिर्फ कॉमन वैल्यूज पिक करके उसका एक अलग से डेटा सेट बनाना है जो 23 और 24 दोनों को कंबाइन करता है, तब आप लुकअप्स यूज कर सकते हैं. आप ये सब काम मैन्युअली भी कर सकते हैं, but it will save you a ton of time to just go ahead and do it using lookups. अगर आपकी रिसर्च में और आपके डेटा में impurities हैं, आपका डेटा अगर आपके डेटा में duplications हैं, removals हैं, या फिर आपके डेटा में कैसे कहें कि अगर आपका डेटा ऑर्गेनाइज नहीं है, तो उसको ऑर्गेनाइज करने में भी लुकअप्स आपके बहुत ज्यादा हेल्प कर सकते हैं. लुकअप्स के दो तरीके होते हैं, एक्चुअली 3 है अब, पर हम इस सेशन में सिर्फ 2 कवर करेंगे. There's the VLOOKUP, which is a very simplistic version of a lookup. That is, what VLOOKUP does is you pick an ID, and then it picks a corresponding row, whichever row you want, and it picks out the data for it. So a quick and easy and efficient way to find vertically structured data. जो भी data vertically structured किया गया है, उसे बहुत easily reference करने में VLOOKUPs आपकी help कर सकते हैं. और दूसरा जो तरीका है वो है index और matching. Index and match ये 2 अलग-अलग functions हैं, पर इनको जब साथ में यूज किया जाता है तो एक बहुत ही एफिशिएंट लुकअप फंक्शन ये देते हैं हमें. इंडेक्स और मैचिंग एक बहुत ही फ्लेक्सिबल लुकअप ऑप्शन है अगर आपका डेटा वर्टिकली स्ट्रक्चर्ड नहीं है, अगर आपका डेटा कॉलम्स में भी स्ट्रक्चर्ड है, या फिर आप एक डायनामिक और बड़े डेटा सेट के साथ काम कर रहे हैं, तब इंडेक्स और मैचिंग वुड बी एन एफिशिएंट टूल फॉर यू. एक्सेल ने एक और टूल इंट्रोड्यूस किया है, एक्स लुकअप, और एक्स लुकअप इज एक्चुअली मोर वर्सेटाइल देन बोथ ऑफ दीज, बट हम उसे कवर नहीं कर सकते क्योंकि उसकी एक टेक्निकल लिमिटेशंस है, एक टेक्निकल लिमिटेशन है. इट इज ओनली अवेलेबल इन एक्सेल आफ्टर 2019, सो वी कांट यूज दैट, सो हम उसके बारे में उतनी बात नहीं करेंगे. So let's start with VLOOKUP. So एक VLOOKUP फंक्शन के कंपोनेंट्स क्या होते हैं? लुकअप वैल्यू, टेबल एरे, कॉलम इंडेक्स और रेंज. ये जो लुकअप वैल्यू है, ये लुकअप वैल्यू आपकी एक कॉमन लिंक है 2 टेबल्स के बीच में. आपके 2 टेबल्स हैं, उन 2 टेबल्स के बीच में जो एक कॉमन लिंक होती है वो है आपकी लुकअप वैल्यू. जो टेबल एरे है वो टेबल एरे है जिसमें से आपको आउटपुट चाहिए, और जो कॉलम इंडेक्स नंबर है वो उस कॉलम का इंडेक्स नंबर है जिस कॉलम का आउटपुट आप एक्सट्रैक्ट करना चाहते हो अपने ओरिजिनल डेटा सेट से जिसके साथ आप कंपेयर कर रहे हो. रेंज, अगर आप नंबर्स के साथ काम कर रहे हो तो आप 1 यूज कर सकते हैं। अगर आप टेक्स्ट के साथ काम कर रहे हो तो आप 0 यूज कर सकते हैं। अब ये सब मैं बोल गया, तो मुझे लगता है कि इससे दिखाना बेहतर होगा। सो लेट मी ट्राई एंड ओपन अप। Not sure if you guys have Pankaj, सबके पास आ गई वर्कबुक?
Data we have shared with them on the WhatsApp group and also email them, so they can download from there.
Okay, perfect. Okay. So एक काम करते हैं, एक वॉक थ्रू एग्जांपल देता हूँ कैसे VLOOKUP यूज किया जाता है। फॉर दोज हु आर ऑलरेडी यूजिंग lookups, फॉर यू इट्स अ रिफ्रेशर सेशन, पर जो बिगिनर्स हैं ये उनके लिए खास इंपॉर्टेंट है। मान लीजिए कि आपके पास ये 2 डेटा सेट्स हैं। एक है आपका एक एम्प्लॉय रजिस्टर है जिसके अंदर एम्प्लॉय की आईडी, फर्स्ट नेम और लास्ट नेम अवेलेबल है, और एक पे रिपोर्ट है जिसमें एम्प्लॉय का आईडी और उसका पे दिया हुआ है। पर आपको एक कंबाइंड टेबल बनाना है जिसमें एम्प्लॉय का आईडी, पे और उसका फर्स्ट और लास्ट नेम सब आ जाए। तो हाउ डू यू डू इट? You use VLOOKUPs because in this case it is a very simplistic vertical arrangement of data. आप इसमें VLOOKUP easily use कर सकते हो। So how do we use it? You just write आपके आउटपुट कॉलम है यहाँ पे, ये आपके आउटपुट कॉलम्स है, सॉरी ये आपके आउटपुट कॉलम्स है। So you just use equals to VLOOKUP, look up the value, आपकी वैल्यू यानी कि आप चाहते हो आपकी जो लिंक है वो है आपकी एम्प्लॉय आईडी, द कॉमन लिंक बिटवीन द 2 टेबल्स, आप उसे यूज कर सकते हो। देन यू गेट द टेबल एरे, यानी कि पूरा टेबल जिसको भी आप कंपेयर कर रहे हैं। आप अगर आप ड्रैग एंड ड्रॉप करने वाले हो तो आई वुड एडवाइज कि जो आपकी एरे है वो कभी चेंज नहीं होगी। तो इट्स बेटर टू पुट डॉलर साइंस इन फ्रंट ऑफ द सेल्स ताकि वो रेफरेंसिंग चेंज ना हो, एक सॉलिड रेफरेंसिंग आपके पास रहे। नाउ कॉलम इंडेक्स नंबर, इन दिस केस it's going to be, because we want the first name, it's going to be first, second and third. So we want the third column from the left. So it is always from the left, third column from the left. And in this case what we want is the lookup is actually a number. So हम लोग false use कर सकते हैं क्योंकि the lookup is actually a number. And there you have it, brag 9990678.
Hello.
Yeah, हाँ पंकज। Thank you.
Continue.
Yeah, thank you. So the first name is Brad. हम double check कर लेते हैं कि yes, there it is, Brad Pitt. So you just drag and drop and you have an entire list. You can do the same thing. मैंने इसे column में copy किया, and as you can see it does not work that way because the referencing will change. So we will correct the referencing. For or this time we don't actually need the second column, but the third column we need the second column, the last name column. I'm going to change it, and there you have. So this is how VLOOKUP generally works. It is very efficient and it is very quick when your data is structured vertically. In the case, ये एक बहुत ही सिंपलिस्टिक एग्जांपल था। कई एग्जांपल्स ऐसे भी होंगे कि जहां पे आपके 2 अलग-अलग डेटा सेट्स होंगे और आप उन्हें कंबाइन भी करना चाहते हो। I would argue, हम लोग उसके अंदर जाएंगे, I prefer index and matching when I'm combining data sets, पर आप VLOOKUP भी उसके लिए यूज कर सकते हैं। It is pretty simple. So just going to, for example, यहाँ पे हमें दिया हुआ है employee ID, first name और last name, और यहाँ पे employee ID और उसका city दिया हुआ है। We want the last name and the city, और हम उन 2 चीजों को कंबाइन करना चाहते हैं। तो हम कैसे करेंगे? In this case, जो फर्स्ट टेबल में हमने जो फर्स्ट एग्जांपल में किया हम वही करेंगे। हम लुकअप वैल्यू, हमारा एम्प्लॉय आईडी जो अभी भी एक कॉमन लिंक है, हम उसे यूज करेंगे। हम एक एरे बनाएंगे, उसे सॉलिड रेफरेंसिंग देंगे। उसके बाद जो हमारा टेबल एरे है, सॉरी हाँ, और उसके बाद जो हम कॉलम जो हम आउटपुट लेना चाहते हैं वो होगी सेकंड कॉलम, क्योंकि वो लास्ट नेम कॉलम है। और उसके बाद फॉल्स, क्योंकि हम नंबर से लिंक कर रहे हैं। देयर यू गो, यू हैव द लास्ट नेम। अब सिटी के लिए हम क्या करेंगे, हम सिर्फ, हमारे पास लिंक तो सेम ही है, लिंक हमारे पास अभी भी जो एम्प्लॉय आईडी है वो अभी भी एक लिंक है, तो हम उसी को यूज करेंगे। हम सिर्फ अपनी टेबल एरे बदल लेंगे। सॉरी, यहाँ पे हम चाहते हैं सिटी एज एन आउटपुट, सो वी विल स्टिल यूज द सेकंड कॉलम एंड देन we'll do the exact matching, because our link is still the same. The link is still the same as the employee ID, and there you have it, and you get the whole picture. So to recap, this is a very simplistic scenario in which you can use VLOOKUP. VLOOKUP, demonstrate while speaking. शायद पुराना मैसेज होगा। Yeah, Kumar Gaurav, I hope you're able to see my screen. Okay. Okay. Moving on. Now, what to do in cases where you want, you don't have, in the first two examples, what we had was a one-on-one mapping. There was one employee ID, a singular employee ID, that we were matching with another singular employee ID, and we were getting outputs. एक employee ID था, एक singular employee ID था, और एक one-to-one relationship था हमारी keys के बीच में. What to do in the cases where you are using reference tables, such as a pay band table, and then you have the pays along with it, and you are working with categories, and you want the output in categorical terms. आप categories में अपना output चाहते हैं, उस cases में क्या किया जा सके? तो VLOOKUP is very flexible. You can use it for that as well. But one very important thing to note about VLOOKUP is that VLOOKUP always uses the minimum, the less than function. So, मैं क्या कहना चाहता हूँ? How are you creating this? The column number is given. Sorry. Please explain again. Okay. So we've gotten a couple of questions. So I'm just going to dive on, explain again on how the column numbers are given. So I think what you mean is कि ये column number कैसे दिया गया था. So in terms of how we gave that column number, it is very simple. You pick your table array, जो भी आपकी table array है. In this case, we have, this is our table array. This is from what we want an output. उस टेबल एरे में जो भी आपका आउटपुट है, यानी कि फर्स्ट नेम जो कि यहां पर है, उस आउटपुट की पोजीशन लेफ्ट से कहां पर है, कौन सी कॉलम में. तो अगर लेफ्ट से, अगर फर्स्ट नेम की पोजीशन थर्ड कॉलम में है, तो वी आर गोइंग टू यूज 3 हियर. Got it. Okay, perfect. And then the next question is, how are you creating arrays with the tables? Please explain again. Okay. Array, how to lock the table standard. Okay. So in terms of how to create an array, it is very simple. I just selected it. जो भी आपका टेबल होगा, जो भी आपका एक्सट्रैक्ट टेबल होगा, जो भी आपका रेफरेंस टेबल होगा, आप सिर्फ उसके ऊपर, I'm just going to remove this so I can explain again. आप सिर्फ अपने लुकअप वैल्यू डालेंगे और जो भी आपका टेबल एरे है उसको आप लेफ्ट से सिर्फ ड्रैग ही करना है, और अगर आपको उसको लॉक करना चाहते हैं तो सिर्फ डॉलर साइंस between the cells, and that should do it. Dollar signs between the column name and the row name, column name and the row name. Okay. और फिर column index, क्योंकि last name है, I'm going to use the second column which is right here, and then I'm going to do false match. Okay. Hopefully that was helpful. Now, in terms of using VLOOKUP for references, for reference tables, आप जैसे एक प्रोफेशनल फील्ड में जाएंगे, वहां पर कई बार, खास करके if you're working in data analysis and monitoring evaluation and stuff, what you will have is आपके पास एक बहुत बड़ा डेटा सेट होगा और उस डेटा सेट के अंदर कुछ कीज होंगी, और and those keys will correspond, वो कीज यानी कि एक तरह के रेफरेंसेस होंगे जो आपके डेटा के अंदर की जो वैल्यूज हैं उसके साथ जुड़े हुए होंगे। जिसका एक एग्जांपल यहाँ पर है कि यहाँ पे हमारे पास एक एक्चुअल पे है और एक कैटेगराइजेशन उस पे का और उस पे के उसके बैंड्स के साथ। सो व्हाट वी वांट इज, वी वांट दिस कैटेगरी, हम ये पे कौन सी कैटेगरी में है वो आउटपुट हम अगर चाहते हैं तो वो भी हम VLOOKUP के साथ कर सकते हैं। कैसे किया जाना चाहिए? इट इज स्टिल द सेम फॉर्मूला। सो VLOOKUP, दिस टाइम हमारी लुकअप वैल्यू हमारा एम्प्लॉय आईडी नहीं है, क्योंकि एम्प्लॉय आईडी इज नॉट द कॉमन लिंक बिटवीन द टू टेबल्स, इट इज द पे, क्योंकि हमारे पास यहाँ पर सिर्फ पे की इंफॉर्मेशन है, हमारे पास एम्प्लॉय आईडी की इंफॉर्मेशन हमारे रेफरेंस टेबल में नहीं। तो वी आर गोइंग टू यूज द पे। हम अपने टेबल एरे के लिए we will use this array and we're going to lock it, and in this case our output is the pay band, and the pay band is the second column from the left, and then false matching because it's still a number, we're still using a number, so false matching. Oh, sorry, sorry, in this case it will be true because our output is a text, our output is text, sorry about that. So हमारा output text है और हम एक approximate match चाहते हैं। यहाँ पे अगर आप देख सकते हैं कि false यानी एक exact match होगा, यानी कि अगर यही पे है यहाँ पे दिया हुआ 84,289 तभी एक मैच का रिजल्ट आएगा। अगर आपका मैच अप्रोक्सीमेट है तो उसका रिजल्ट नहीं आएगा, उसके लिए आपको ट्रू डालना पड़ेगा। नाउ once you drag and drop this, what you will realize is ये पे कैटेगरी कहां पर दे रहा है? 84,289 लेवल सी आपका 75,000, यानी कि द मैच इज बेसिकली इफ दिस टेबल, इस टेबल की जो भी वैल्यू है उसको इज लेस देन दिस टेबल्स वैल्यू। सो yeah, so VLOOKUP usually uses a less than function, so it doesn't do a greater than match. It will always do a less.
Can we follow this? So we have shared data with everyone. So either you can ask them to practice it for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
If they have any doubt, they can raise their hand and unmute themselves, and they can ask questions.
Okay.
If it goes
let's do it
that way, it's perfectly fine, because maybe VLOOKUP is, it seems a little tricky because I saw the chat box, some questions were there. So please take your time, give them 5 minutes to hands-on practice for themselves, because everyone has data.
Okay.
So they are not able to, if they are not able to follow whatever you have just taught them, they can raise their hand and unmute themselves and ask questions.
Okay, perfect. Yeah.
Because
We'll
that's the benefit of having such intimate group. Now we have just 50 people around here, so that would be great.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, let's do that then. So what I'll do is you can start. आप सबके पास अगर ये workbook हो, अगर आप use कर सकते हो, just use the green ones. Do not use the solution ones. We'll use those for index matching. So just use the green ones. आप अपने आप करना शुरू कीजिए. आप अगर आपको in the meantime I'll just take a couple of questions considering someone has raised their hand. So yeah,
So now
Saad.
everyone has 5 to 10 minutes. Please, using data, you practice whatever Heath has taught, and
Yeah.
then later you can ask the question. Thank you, Heath.
Thanks, Pankaj.
Hi, can you just explain this? What is lookup value? What is table area? What is whole index number? One by one, so that we know what to look for.
Okay. Yeah, I can. So that's one question. I'll also take Saad's question. It seems like he has raised his hand. Saad.
Saad, please unmute yourself. If you have any doubt or question, please unmute yourself. And yeah, go ahead.
Good evening, sir. Sir, actually, I am practicing, but after some 3 or 4 rows, it is the value is NA source.
Yeah. So
What-
okay. So yeah. So I think what might have happened is that can you double check that you locked your reference table? That is what might have happened. So in terms of locking the reference table, what will happen is when you drag and drop, it will still use the same references that we were using before. Can you double check that?
what, sir?
The लॉकिंग यानी आप अगर हो सके तो आप बस देख लीजिए कि आपका जो टेबल एरे है वहां पे आपने डॉलर साइन लगाई हुई है.
Okay, sir.
हाँ. Or going back to ET's question. So I think ET's question was what are the components of VLOOKUP? ये जो 3 components जिसके साथ हम काम कर रहे हैं, ये 3 components क्या हैं और इन्हें कैसे identify किया जा सके. So I will let's go into that then. एक सिनेरियो ले लेते हैं जिसमें आपके पास 2 टेबल्स हैं और इन आपको यही सिनेरियो इसी को यूज कर सकते हैं. इस सिनेरियो में जहां पे आपके पास 2 टेबल्स हैं और दोनों टेबल्स के बीच में एक कॉमन लिंक है. एक फील्ड यानी एक कॉलम ऐसी है कि जो दोनों में एग्जिस्ट करती है और उसकी वैल्यूज दोनों में सेम है. तो वो जो वैल्यू होगी आपकी, वो जो कॉलम होगी वो ही आपकी लुकअप होगी. तो अगर इफ यू सॉरी गलती से हाँ, तो अगर आपको फिगर आउट करना है कि आपकी लुकअप वैल्यू क्या है, तो लुक फॉर अ कॉमन थ्रेड बिटवीन द 2 टेबल्स. सो वो जो थ्रेड है, वो जो कॉमन लिंक है, उसी को यूज करके आप एक टेबल में से दूसरे टेबल के अंदर डेटा डाल सकते हो. एक रिलेशनशिप जो बन जाती है. मान लीजिए कि आपके स्कूल में आपकी एक ह्यूमन एग्जांपल सिर्फ मैं इसका एक दे सकता हूँ कि स्कूल में जो रोल नंबर्स हैं उसके साथ नाम लिखे हुए हैं और जब एग्जाम का रिजल्ट आता है तो सिर्फ रोल नंबर और मार्क्स. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, I'll just I'll keep switching between the 2 languages. Sorry about that. You have roll numbers and you have names, and that's your school register. And then you have you give an exam, you get your results. Your results are your roll number and your marks. In that case, how do you, as a human, look for your marks? What you do is as a human, you look for your roll number, because your roll number is the link between these 2 tables. And then you get an output value, which is your marks, comparing that with your name, which is given in the attendance sheet. I hope that explains basically what a lookup value is. So a lookup value is nothing but a roll number or an ID that you're using between two tables. In terms of the table array, जो भी आपकी table array है, the table array that you're going to use, that is going to be, so if you are using table A, if you want output in table A, you use table B as your table array. Again, using the same example, हम वही example फिर से use करेंगे. You have your attendance sheet and you have your results that are given. So in your case, what you're doing is you're looking up your roll number, which is on the attendance sheet with your name. You're looking up your roll number into the array that is the results that have been given from whatever your institute is. So you're looking up your value, which is your roll number, there, and you're getting the output, and the output is your marks. So that is exactly what you're doing with VLOOKUP as well. We all do this in our heads. We're just doing it with a computer. That's all we're doing. The column index number is, again, using the same example, the output of what you want. So when you look up for your roll number, when you look your marks, when you look at your when you want to look at your marks in the result sheet, you don't want to just look at your roll number. That's not what you are taking out of. That is not the data you want. That is not the information you want. The information you want is your marks. So that is in another column, and that column is the column index number. So you go from left and you pick the column for which you pick your output column using that. So in this case, for example, we wanted first name. First name is the third column. So this is the employee ID, this is the roster, this is the pay, and we wanted the first name. So we use our employee ID, and there it is, Brad Pitt. So we use the first column, we use the third column from the left, 1, 2, and 3. And that is the one that we put here. And then finally the range. The range is pretty simple to understand. In this case, in any case where there is a one-to-one relationship, which is as the example I gave of roll numbers, there's only one you, and there's only going to be one roll number that is assigned to you, and there's only going to be one roll number. There's only going to be a one-to-one relationship in your two tables. That in that case you use false, which is an exact match, because you want an exact match between the two tables. But in the cases where you have a case like this, where it is categorical, जहाँ पे एक ऐसा सिनेरियो दिया हुआ है जहाँ पर मिनिमम पे है और पे बैंड है और कोई वन टू वन रिलेशनशिप नहीं, यहाँ पे दो तीन एंट्रीज ऐसी हैं जो एक ही कॉलम को एक ही कैटेगरी को कोरस्पॉन्ड करती है. In that case, you use true. That is the only case where you use true. Other than that, you use false. I hope I answered your question, Neeti.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any luck? Did everyone have any other questions? Great. Perfect. Amazing work, Priyanka. Yes, Hindu. you had a question.
Yes, I just had one question. So, like in this particular example or the set of examples we are doing, we are having the tables, the reference tables, as well as the source tables
Yeah.
in the same sheet. What if there are two different sheets where we want to, like the reference sheet is a different sheet?
Yeah.
Then would this work in the same manner?
Yes, it would. So let me just quickly create an example. So I'm just going to use the example 1, and I'm just going to create an example 4 to show you how we would do that. That's a great question, Hindu. I didn't think of that. So yeah, there we go. Just going to use the same example. I'm going to create an example 4 sheet, and I'm going to create a sheet 2 as a separate sheet. So this is where our I'm just going to move this to sheet 2. Okay, so now it's not here. I'm just going to remove what we already did. Now, in this case, what you would do is you would do the exact same stuff. You will do the exact same VLOOKUP. You will put the employee ID there. Then you would go to your sheet, the sheet which has the array. And I would argue you will need to be a little bit careful when switching sheets with array because it could get tricky. So just try to be as clean in your movement as possible. So here our table array has moved to the next sheet. So what I would do is I would just click on that sheet. You can see our formula is still going on the formula bar. You can still see sheet 2. And then I'm going to select all of this. So we did the exact same thing. The locking will also be the exact same. You will just do it after the workbook name. So after the workbook name, you put the $sign in the cell numbers. So it's just after the workbook name. And then I think we were getting first names. So again, column 3 and then false, which is exact match, and you should get the same exact result again.
Great, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Pratibha. Pratibha, I got it, but next time just write down formula using example. Not quite sure, Pratibha. Formula using example. Okay. I'm glad you got it. Sad, I'm able to do all example, but the same issue comes in a result coming in 4, 5 columns. Okay. So, Sad, I would argue just try, just look at my screen and just see the referencing in the formula, and can you double check that this is the formula that has been used? Please double check the array number, the array formula, that is crucial, and that you've put false and that you've used column indexes. Can you double check this, Sad?
Sir.
Yeah, go ahead, Sad.
Okay, sir. Now it's done.
Done? Okay, great, perfect. Everyone was able to do it. Anyone had any questions? Not able to do the last name column. Okay, Shaheen, this one. I'm assuming you're talking about this one. Shaheen, you can unmute, and I think I'll probably get it. Is this the one you're talking about? This one. Something. Okay, this one. Okay. So in this one, what we've done is, as you can see, for last name, we've used this array. And then when we moved on to city, we used a different array. So we used this array for our last name column. Yeah. For Can you explain the reason behind adding the dollar sign in the formula? It's so that our references doesn't change. So let's say when you do drag and drop, what you do is you are letting Excel know that now apply the same references to this. Now, if you know how cell referencing changes in Excel, this would make much more sense. So how cell referencing would change is if you drag and drop, it will just move everything one cell away. So let's say you selected this as an array. Now, if you do a drag and drop, the next array will be selected is this. Then the next array will be this. Then the next array will be this. So in that case, it is very important to put these dollar signs, because these dollar signs lets Excel know that, okay, don't change the referencing. Keep this referencing. I only want this table. I only want column from here to here. I only want this, nothing else. So, okay. Got the last name. Yashasvi, I hope yeah, got it. Okay. Noinika, I think someone unmuted. Yeah, Noinika, I think it's going to be the same issue. I think it's going to be a referencing issue, most likely. So just check your referencing. It's because you would not have put dollar signs there. Shad, you had a question? Or? Okay. I'll just give you guys a couple of more minutes and then we'll move on to index and matching. Can you show how to get last name in the first example and why 2 comes in the formula? Okay. So why 2 comes in the formula? It's pretty straightforward. So last name, how we get the last name here. The formula remains almost the exact same. You take the employee ID, you link the employee ID with the employee ID given in the first table, and then what you do is you want the last name, which is the second column from the left. So what you do is, the reason why 2 comes here is because last name is the second column in your array. It's the second column from the left, and you always go from the left to right, and it's the second column from the left, and that is the reason why first name is the third column from the left, because it is 1, 2, and 3. Make sense? Not sure what happened here. First name. Okay. I'll give you guys 1 more minute and then formula used in example 3. Okay. Example 3 is pretty much the same formula. What we've done instead of using employee ID is we've used the pay to do the lookup. And when you use the pay to do the lookup, you for here, because it's going to be an approximate match, there is no 1-to-1 relationship. It's a category. So what you do in that case is you use true, because that's a category. Now you'll notice that when you use true, it's only going to give you a less than value, and that's what it is going to do. So it is going to pick the value that is less than this one, the immediate value that is given in this table that is less than this value. So 84,289 is 75,000 is less than 84,289. So it will pick up level C and it will give you the output of level B. Pankaj, in your opinion, do you think we should? No, true is for categories. True is not for just less than. Less than is what VLOOKUP does. VLOOKUP does not have any other mode. It will always give you less than. And that is why we use another method, which is index and matching. By categories, I mean these type of categories. There is the level A, B, C, D, E. These are categories. These are not, there's not a one-to-one relationship. Like for example, the pay, you don't see 84,289 here. It's a category that 75,000 to 100,000 is one category. 50,000 to 75,000 is one category. So when you're working with categories, that's when you use to.
So I wanted to ask, like, in the examples we did before, we used true, no, false for because they were like characters, they were names, right? And we are using, I don't understand why we are using true when we have used false before. How is it different in this case?
It's also different because, yeah, no worries. So it's also because you look at what we use for false and true. It's not as simple as just numbers and words. It's also whether your match is one-to-one or not. Now, in the case, there are two ways you can match your data. For example, I can put myself in my, so if ages were given from 1 to 100, I can match my age 1-to-1 with that number. So I'm 29, so I will match 29 with 29. My age 29 is matching with ages that are given in a table from 1 to 100, 29. But let's say instead of doing that, someone has given categories 1 to 10, 20 to 30, 30 to 40, 40 to 50, 50 to 60. In that case, 29 does not exist in my reference table. 29 as a value does not exist in my reference table. It falls between 20 and 30. So what I do is I put false there because that gives that is an approximate match with my category. So it's exact match. Sorry, I put true there because it's an approximate match. So you put true or approximate match. So when you are dealing with categories in your lookup and you put false when it is an exact match, when there is a one-to-one relationship. So what I mean by one-to-one relationship is that there is one employee ID and you can find the exact same employee ID here. But in this case, there is one pay, but you don't find the exact same pay here. You find a range here. So what you do is you ask Excel to find the number that is closest to the number that you've given here. So it is going to find an approximately close number that is given to here. And the sign it will use in that case is always less than. Not our outputs are unique, but if Mahesh, not if our outputs are unique, but if our references, in the cases where our reference table or the table that we are referring to is categorized, in that case you use true. Unless that is the case, you use false. Okay, do you think should be moving on? Should we move on unless there's
sure. We should move on. I think we gave enough time for practice and clarifying doubts. So let's go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So what we're going to move on to, this one is going to be, so VLOOKUP, the reason why VLOOKUP is very useful is because it is straightforward. It doesn't seem like it right now, but the more you practice VLOOKUP, you'll find out that VLOOKUP is very straightforward. It's a very easy formula to work with. And that is why VLOOKUP is more popular than its counterpart, which is index and match. The reason why when you go in professional circles, index and match is used more than VLOOKUP is because index and match is very flexible. इंडेक्स और मैचिंग VLOOKUP में हम लोगों ने क्या किया कि हमारा सारा डेटा कॉलम्स में था और उन्हीं कॉलम्स में से हमने अपना डेटा पुल किया और उसे अप्लाई किया. इंडेक्स और मैचिंग में हम ये सेम चीज रो के साथ भी कर सकते हैं. जरूरी नहीं है कि हम यही चीज सिर्फ हमारे डेटा सिर्फ कॉलम्स में हो. यानी मान लीजिए कि आपकी जो आईडीज हैं वो रो स्ट्रक्चर्ड है, तब भी आप इंडेक्स और मैचिंग यूज कर सकते हैं. इसका जो मेन एग्जांपल है वो पता नहीं आज हमारे पास उतना टाइम होगा या नहीं. I will try my best to cover everything we need to cover regardless of the time. So हम उसका एक एग्जांपल, हम एक वर्क एग्जांपल, एक वर्किंग सेशन हम अभी करेंगे थोड़ी देर में. बट in terms of index and matching, it is not one function, it is two functions. Index एक अपना अलग फंक्शन है और match अपना एक अलग फंक्शन. तो इंडेक्स और मैच जब साथ में यूज किए जाते हैं तो वो इस तरह से यूज किए जाते हैं कि आप पहले इज इक्वल टू इंडेक्स लिखते हैं, आप अपनी रिटर्न रेंज लिखते हैं, यानी कि वही रेंज जिसका आप आउटपुट चाहते हैं. दिस टाइम आप अपना आउटपुट रेंजेस में से निकाल रहे हैं. तो यू पुट योर रिटर्न रेंज, फिर आप मैच लगाते हैं और मैच विल ट्राई टू फाइंड द पोजीशन ऑफ द आउटपुट दैट यू वांट. It is getting complex, a little bit complex, but stay with me, and it is a very useful tool whenever you have to use it. Okay. I'll explain. Yeah, definitely. I'll explain it in English.
Hello, sir.
Hi, Ashwini. Yeah. Go ahead.
Sir, how is a range different from categorical variables?
Sorry. What do you mean by range is different from categorical variables? So I didn't get your question. So do you mean like how is this different? Is that what you mean?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, this is different because there is no one-to-one relationship. So your pay is the pay that you're referencing here. What are you basically trying to do? What you're trying to do is you're trying to get categories based on your pay range. Now, in that case, if you want, now it seems confusing because I've only written pay minimum and there's only 25, 50, 75, 100, and 150. But what this basically means is level A is 25 to 50, level B is 50 to 75, level C is 75 to 100, and level D is 100 to 150, and level E is 150 and above. So in that case, Excel doesn't have the exact lookup value. It doesn't have 84,289 here. It only has a range. And in that case, that is the case where we use true. I'm assuming this is the question.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. If anyone has questions regarding VLOOKUP, I think Pankaj is going to share the recording. And I think these, if you have any more questions, we can probably take it towards the end. And I think we should now move on to index and matching.
Yeah, what I feel, hey, you have really explained very well, and I suggest our participants after this session they have data with them, they can practice it by their own, and then tomorrow they can clarify if they have any doubt regarding VLOOKUP. I think next 3 days they have to clarify. After 1 week, when we'll come to next week, again they can, if they have their own data set, they can practice on that, and if they have any doubt, they can clarify. So I think hey, we should move ahead because we have a lot to cover.
Yes, yeah, definitely. Okay, Tarun and Sharon, Yeah, we're going to get to that part now. So the index and matching. So, okay. So what do these functions do? So index function, basically what an index function does is it returns the value at a specific row in the range. So I can show you what index does. So let's see, index. So I'm going to put this. So this is my array, and then it will give me the row number. I want the pay here. I want the pay from F2. So I'm going to take second, the first row and the second column. So it is giving me the pay in F2. So this is what index does. What index does is basically it picks out the value from a given range in a particular position. So अगर आपका एक टेबल है और उस टेबल में आपको फर्स्ट कॉलम की थर्ड रो या फिर थर्ड रो की सेकंड कॉलम या थर्ड रो एंड सेकंड कॉलम कहीं पे भी कोई एक वैल्यू है जो आपको निकालनी है, तो वो निकालने में इंडेक्स फंक्शन आपकी मदद करता है. That is what index does. Index is basically just pulling out the data from a particular row and a particular column. That's it. It's very simple. Match क्या करता है? What does match do? Match basically finds your value, finds the value in a particular table. So यहाँ पे मैंने उसका एक explanation लिखा था. हाँ, it finds the position of a value in the range. So जैसे कि इंडेक्स ने अभी क्या किया, इंडेक्स ने क्या किया, उसने एक टेबल लिया, हमने इंडेक्स को एक टेबल दिया, we gave it a table, and then we asked it to pick out the first the value from the first row and second column. So it picked out that value. What match does is match finds out the position of a particular value in a range. यानी वो उल्टा काम करता है. तो फॉर एग्जाम्पल मैच के हम चाहते हैं कि ये जो वैल्यू है 190024, इसकी कौन सी पोजीशन है वो ये हमें दे. तो हम चाहते हैं एक एग्जैक्ट मैच. ओह सॉरी, lookup value, lookup array, sorry, before तो मैच ने क्या किया, हमने मैच को एक वैल्यू दी, the value is 190024, and we asked it to give us its position in a particular column. मतलब ये इसकी एक रो पोजीशन क्या है वो हमने मांगी उससे, और उसने हमें एक रो पोजीशन दे दी, यानी कि इट इज इन द थर्ड रो, फर्स्ट सेकंड एंड थर्ड रो. तो जब हम मैच डालते हैं तो उसने हमें ये वैल्यू दे दी. नाउ हाउ डू वी यूज इंडेक्स एंड मैच टुगेदर? तो हम वही एग्जांपल ले रहे हैं जो हम लोगों ने पहले लिया था. इन दिस केस पहले हम इंडेक्स करेंगे, और and what we'll do is we'll try to figure out the array that is the one whose output we are looking for. So we want first name. So I'm just going to pick this. हमें first name चाहिए, and we want the row position. और रो पोजीशन हम कैसे लेंगे, हम उसको मैच करेंगे ये वैल्यू जो है, यानी कि ये हमारी एम्प्लॉय आईडी की जो वैल्यू है उसे हम मैच करेंगे इस वैल्यू के साथ, यानी कि ये जो एम्प्लॉय आईडी है उसके साथ हमारा मैच होगा एग्जैक्ट. सो हम वहां पे डालेंगे 0 और फिर क्लोज कर देंगे, और इट गिव अस द एग्जैक्ट सेम वैल्यू, ब्रैड. I know this is a little bit more confusing than VLOOKUP. हम अभी VLOOKUP के साथ थोड़े कंफर्टेबल हुए थे और ये थोड़ा उससे ऑफ है, पर trust me, this is much more effective when you are working with larger data sets. And I'm going to show you an example of what it looks like in practice. उसका एक बड़ा एग्जांपल मैं दूंगा, पर अभी के लिए let's work with smaller examples and just try to understand the concept of what index and matching does. Make sense? So I'm going to show it to you again what we did. So index tries to pull out the value in a particular row position. Match gives you the position of a particular value in an array. So match, जब हम मैच करेंगे, what match is doing is match हमारा एम्प्लॉय आईडी लेगा और वो उसे मैच करेगा कि इनमें से कौन सी कॉलम में, इसमें से कौन सी रो में ये एम्प्लॉय आईडी है. उसे मिल गई कि हाँ ये वाली रो है जिसके अंदर वो एम्प्लॉय आईडी है. तो फिर वो इंडेक्स को ये इसकी पोजीशन बताएगा कि उसकी पोजीशन ये है, और हम इंडेक्स को कह रहे हैं कि मुझे ये वाली वैल्यू उसमें से दो, यानी कि इस कॉलम में जो वैल्यू होगी वो तुम मुझे दो. Then it will give you that value. I'm going to do it again in English. So what index does is, what match does is, match finds the position. Match finds the position of your lookup. So if you have an employee ID, it tries to find the position of that employee ID in that particular column. And then what index does is, index uses that position to find whatever column value we want from that. Make sense? So if the more we do it, the more it is going to make sense. Okay, so I'm just going to do this again. So first, the way it works is that it is going example. What is when we are doing that? Okay, start. I will get to that. Why index and matching is useful, I'll get to that, because there is a complexity, a level of complexity with data that comes at a particular point where VLOOKUP becomes untenable. You cannot use VLOOKUP in a certain situation. There is another workbook that I've given to you guys, and we'll get to this soon enough, but I'm just going to show it to you what I'm talking about. So let's say you have this large data set. No, this is not this one. Anyway, you have this large data set. You have 2023 data and 2024 data. And there is a bunch of IDs and there's a bunch of rows and columns. And what you have to do is find out a combined table between those two tables and create one combined table. In that case, VLOOKUP just fails, because VLOOKUP cannot find this. VLOOKUP cannot find if there are different combinations than what there were before. It can, but when you're working with larger data set, it just becomes too complex. And that is why we use index and match. We'll get to this. This is in the future. Forget about this for now. But let's just work with index and matching right now here. So I'm just going to use it again. So index, again, what does index do? It gives out the output. So what we are going to give index, the array, the output array. We're going to give index what हम index को वो array देंगे या फिर वो column देंगे जिसमें से हमें output चाहिए, जिसका जो result हमें चाहिए वो हम index को देंगे. So I'm just going to pick the output array, which is the first thing again, and then we are going to use match. And what are we going to give match? We're going to give match the two columns that we are comparing, our keys, our IDs, the link that we have. So we're going to give it the value. So this is the value, the employee ID, which is what we're looking for in our reference table here. And then we're going to give it absolute references because we don't want it to change. This we don't want to change, and we don't want to change the output array. We are fine with this changing because we want to go down with each and every column, and we want results for every column. हमें हर एक column के result चाहिए, इसलिए हम $sign सिर्फ हमारी arrays को देंगे, जो भी हमारी arrays होंगी. और क्योंकि हमारे पास एक 1-to-1 relationship यहाँ पर है, going back to VLOOKUP, जैसा हम लोगों ने 1-to-1 relationship की बात की, जैसे कि यहाँ पे हमारे पास 1-to-1 relationship है, और फिर से exact match use करेंगे और sorry मैं एक parenthesis भूल गया. There we go. And then there you have it, and it gives you the exact same result. Now 0 because if you look here, so VLOOKUP और index matching में ये दो चीजें हैं. So VLOOKUP में जो range होती है, lookup की range, वो दो भागों में divided है, true and false. In VLOOKUP there's two types of ranges. There's the true range and there's the false range. The true range is approximate match, and the false range is exact match. But when you're working with index and matching, or especially matching particularly, you don't have just two ranges. You have three ranges. You have 0, you have 1, and you have -1. Now, what do these mean? 0 means exact match. So 0 is the same. 0 is the same as false in VLOOKUP. Zero is the exact same as false in VLOOKUP. Just keep this in mind because this is important. 1 here with index and matching is less than match, which is same as true in VLOOKUP. Now, what does matching give that is different is that you also have a greater than match. Now, this option does not exist in VLOOKUP, and we're going to get to this one, but I think this probably answers your question, Priyanka. But yeah, we'll get to that part. We'll get to this part later. Okay. So I'm going to do it again, and we're going to pull out last name again this time. So I'm going to do again index, output column, which is our last name. So our array changes this time. We're using this array. We're going to do $signs on them. And then we are going to do a match function. Inside it, we're going to look up this value in this array. And we're going to give again the exact match type. It should give you the exact answer again. Now, to double check whether this answer is right or wrong, what we are going to do is we're just going to look at what we did with VLOOKUP, and it should give you the exact same answer. Okay. I would suggest you guys try it while I'm doing this, so that you start getting used to this. Okay, let's try again. So this time we have two different data sets, same as we did with VLOOKUP. So again, I'm going to do index. I'm going to here, I want the output column. So the output column is last name. Put the output column. I'm going to do matching on the employee ID. Match type is going to be exact. And there it is. Now this time we want the city. So you want to write the formula again. You pick your output array, which is city this time. Going to pick match this value with this array. Would be an exact match. I hope this explains what we are doing with this and why this is much more flexible. So for example, I'll tell you how flexible this is. So in VLOOKUP, what we had to do is we had to pick the whole array. And with the whole array, we had to find the position of the city. But in this case, you can just pick the columns that you're actually using. You don't actually have to pick the whole table. You can just go ahead and use the columns that you're actually using. Okay. Now comes this part that we were talking about. So I'm going to do it in two ways. So I'm just going to remove this. So I'm going to copy this. Copy it here. Remove this. Okay. So in order to do what we did with VLOOKUP here, if you want to do the exact same thing, what you do is you don't change anything. You do is equal to index. You pick your output columns, which are going to be this pay band. You match. Here you're going to look up the pay. You're looking up it in here. $signs essential. Just make sure to put $signs on your column names. Oh, okay. And in terms of the match type here, Formula 1. I'll get to it, Pratibha. Just give me 1 second. So in order to get the match type here, in order to do the exact same thing as we did with VLOOKUP, you're going to put instead of 0, you're going to put 1. This will do the exact same thing that we did with VLOOKUP. So, oh, sorry, forgot the bracket again. Okay. So this is going to do the exact same thing that that VLOOKUP did. But what if instead of a less than match, you want a greater than match? What I mean by that is, in this case, what you're getting is 84,000 is less than 100,000. Sorry, 75,000 is less than 84,000. 75,000 is less than 84,000. So the value that we will put is level C. Okay, makes sense? 75,000 is less than 84,000. So we put the value level C, which is corresponding to 75,000. What if instead of doing it that way, I want it to give me level D? I want my data not arranged in a way that this is supposed to be less than this, which is min pay is supposed to be less than my pay range. What if I have maximum pay? What if I don't have minimum pay? I have maximum pay, and I want this pay range to be sorted this way. So basically, what if this is not minimum pay? The category is not minimum pay. The category is maximum pay. And level A does not mean 25,000 to 50,000. Level A means, okay, I'm just going to write it here. So what does this mean? What does level A mean? 25,000 to 50,000. That is what level A means. What does level B mean? It means 50,000 to, oh, sorry. It means 50,000 to 75,000. What does level C mean? It means 75,000 to 100, and then 100 to 150, and then 150 plus. That is what this series means. That is what these pay bands mean. Now, what if I don't want it this way? What if my data is structured in a way where I have where this level A does not mean this? It means less than 25,000. This means 25 to 50. This means 50 to 75. This means 75 to 100. And this means 150 to 200. sorry, 100 to, sorry, 100 to 150, and then I have another category which is 150 plus. What if my data is structured this way, and here the pay, I want it to go into the upper bracket, not the lower bracket. I want it to go into the upper bracket. Right now it's going into the lower bracket. See, level C, it's the lower bracket of 84,000. What if I want it to go into the upper bracket? In that case, what you can do is you can use this -1. Now, before using -1, there's a few things that we need to remember, especially about index and matching. For index matching, two things need to be true. You need to have an upper limit. An upper limit means you need to have one value in your reference table which is greater than all values in your output table. So in this table, there is no value that is bigger than, you need to have like one more value, like 200,000 needs to be that, there needs to be one more level. That is what you need to have. And second, your reference table needs to be sorted in descending order. So this table now, you see this was in ascending order, 25, 50, 75, 100, 150. You need this to be in descending order. So 200, 150, 100, 75, 50, 25. That is how you need this to be sorted. Once that is done, you can use the exact same formula. Index, again, this is the output. This is the row number. Sorry, we want the match. We want to match the pay with this array. -1 here. Keep forgetting brackets. Sorry about that. There it is. So now you see you get level D. Here you were getting level C, which means 75. You were getting level C, which means 75, 75 to 50. Sorry, actually, let's copy this. Probably do it this way: 25, 50, 25, 100, 50. Sorry. Sorry, I messed up. So what the categories mean here is 0 to 25, 25 to 50, 50 to 75, and numlock. So what the values mean has changed a lot in these two columns now. So this here we have, this is as an upper limit. It's our maximum limit. And when there is a maximum limit, you want this to go in the maximum limit. So that's why instead of 50 to 75, it should go into 75 and 100, because this is 84. 84 is between 75 and 100. So it will go here in level D. I hope that makes sense. So I think I should stop here and take some questions if you have with index and matching, because yeah, before I get too deep into it. If you're still there.
Just to repeat, 0 is the exact match, right?
Yes.
1 is less than?
1 is less than match. So which is exactly what VLOOKUP does. It's a less
Yeah.
than match.
Okay. And -1 is greater than.
Greater than match. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I've been able to do the 0 and the 1, but somehow -1 is just not it comes as NA for some reason.
Yeah. So -1, are you using this sheet, the example 3 solutions
Yeah,
sheet,
yeah.
and this one? Can you
Yeah.
double check that this table looks like this? That
Okay.
there is it is in offending, it is in descending order.
Descending order. No, it is in ascending order.
That's why. So what you do
Okay.
is
Hmm.
just pick this,
So,
do custom sort,
yeah. Okay.
largest
ठीक
to
है.
smallest.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Any other questions?
I wanted to ask, like, if we use the earlier, like, instead of -1, if we used 1, what would, I mean, I didn't exactly get it. So, like, how this would change? As in, earlier it would have
Yeah.
come within level C, right? As you said,
Yeah.
and now it's coming within. So, I mean, as far as I can see, because like level C meant 75 to 100, so obviously it would come within that range. And now
Yeah.
level D 75. So, I mean, what fundamentally changes here? It's just a categorization that we have changed.
Perfect. So that is exactly true. Sometimes what you have is you don't always have your data structured the way you want it. So what if your references, the reference that you're working with, let's say if you're working with a data set where you've only been given the maximum value, you're not given the minimum value. In that case, what do? In that case, you use
Okay.
this.
Okay,
Because
I get it.
otherwise the option is to go through the pain of creating a new table, and in that there
Okay.
could be there is a concept that is called data contamination. So when we as data analysts or you as social researchers, when we try to create a data set or a reference table out of nothing, it can get contaminated very quickly. So if anyone has played the game of, like, the telephone game, वो गेम जिसमें हम एक के कान में कुछ कहो और वो आगे किसी और को कुछ pass on करता है. You say something in someone's ear and it passes on,
Yeah.
and the final meaning is just something completely different. That is what happens if you try to manipulate your own data, which is you try to create your own data. That is contamination. That data can get contaminated very quickly. Okay, so
Okay,
that is
so
why
like,
we
I mean,
use this.
So basically, we are accounting for different sort of, so that we don't have to put in
Yes.
extra effort to then create another data set. Instead, we'll make some changes, and then we can process with whatever. I mean, if we have pay minimum or pay maximum, either case we
Exactly.
can. Like, I mean, go
Exactly.
ahead.
Yeah, because another option is you create a reference table, and when you create a reference table, it can sometimes, depending on what data you're working with, it can also fall outside of compliance. So your job is to just work with raw extracts, not create reference tables. So
Yeah, I
just
get it,
work with what you're given, and then in that case, then you need to do something like this.
Yeah,
Make
thank
sense?
you. Yeah, sure.
Any other questions? If nothing else, we are now going to do a little bit of a deep dive. I think we only have 20 minutes for today's session. So this can probably go into tomorrow's session as well, depending on what you would like me to do. So I'm just going to take a quick poll. Just let me see if I can see raised hands. I think I can see raised hands. So if you can raise your hand if you want a recap of what we did today. Okay. See, 9, 10, 11, 12 hands raised, 15 hands raised now. That is a large chunk of the group, that 16 now. 16 hands raised saying that you want a recap of what we did today. Raise your hand, lower your hand now, everyone. Lower. Okay. Now raise your hand if you want to move ahead with a much more complex example right now. Okay, 10, 11, 11. See, the beauty of living in a democracy is that the majority wins. So we'll just do a recap. What I was going to cover today doesn't go away anywhere. You still will get it. You will still get it. I will do it tomorrow. But let us just do a quick recap today and take any questions you might have, because what I am going to cover, it's going to take more than 40 minutes. Let's just do that then. Make sense? Okay. So to recap, why do we use lookups? You know what? We can actually do this as a quiz. Okay. So everyone open your chat boxes. Everyone open your chat boxes, and I'm just going to ask a question, and I want to see who responds first and what your responses are. The reason, so just to recap, the reason why we use lookups is to create combined data sets and to link one data set with another. Okay. The reason why lookups are so efficient is because when you're using lookups, you don't actually have to go through the pain of doing the cognitive pressure of comparing one column with each. What is the alternative to lookup? Let's say you don't want to use VLOOKUP, you don't want to use index matching because it is just too confusing. Okay, let's assume that. What is the alternative? The alternative is if statements. Now those if statements, the ones that you would use in place of VLOOKUP, instead of index matching, they can get so big and so complex that it can genuinely become too hard to manage. So I'll show you what you can do instead of VLOOKUP and index matching. So it would be something like if employee ID, I forgot how to use. I don't even use if statements anymore. Yeah, I forgot. Sorry about that. Yeah, I thought I would be able to show you how to use if statements instead of VLOOKUPs and index matching, but I have done it previously, and it is too tiring. It is too much to think, and it is too hard to handle. When you do drag and drop, those if statements do not work. When you are working with vertical data and row-wise data, those if statements do not work. So what do we use VLOOKUP for? Go ahead.
Then why do we have if statements then? I mean, there must be some advantage as to because if that option is available and hasn't completely been discarded. I mean, I'm just curious.
Yeah, I can. So we'll get into that tomorrow, because that is what I wanted to show you. Tomorrow, we're not just going to use index and match. We're going to use index and match with if statements. We're going to combine the two because let's preface this. Like, you have these two different data sets, and you want to find which new entries we got from one to the other, which old entries were removed from one to the other, and do the ID still correspond to the same value or not? For example, you take this example that we were working with. Let's say here, these are the two employee IDs. What if this employee, what if you have two employee IDs and you have the pay, 2023 pay, you have another table that says 2024 pay, but the employee ID now refers to someone other's name? What do you do in that case? How do you figure out that this ID has just completely changed? What do you do in that case? So that is where if statements and the referencing tools like index and match, they combine, and that's when they are used. So we're going to discuss that tomorrow, and I'll show you what to do. But Yeah, sorry, I was going to recap the whole thing. Yeah, in terms of VLOOKUP, I'm going to do a short quiz now for 15 minutes.
Thank you so much. It was
Makes
really
sense.
useful. Yeah.
Yeah, no worries. Any other questions? Okay, then let's just do a quick quiz. I'll just do a quick quiz for 10 minutes because I think we only have that much time. So, when do we use true in VLOOKUP? Just pop it in the chat box. I want to see your answers. It is not a race. I just want to know what your answers are. When do we use true in VLOOKUP? Tarun has used Tarun, Hindol, approximate match, Sandra, Sanhita, Kumar Gaurav, approximate, categorical. So here the idea is, yeah, none of you are wrong, by the way. You're all correct. Yashasvi, the question was, when do you use true in VLOOKUP? Okay. True, sorry, not true. True, TRUE. True. Okay. Yeah, okay. I think most of you got it. The next question is, what do we need to do in order to create a greater than match for, what are the two things we need to keep in mind to do the greater than match for index and matching? What do we need to do? What do we need to make sure? That's fine. The -1 is fine. Yes, Hindor, you're correct. Descending order and main upper limit. Yes, perfect. 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 Okay. Okay. I genuinely thought most half of you would have fallen asleep by the time we got to index and matching, but I'm very pleasantly surprised that you're all paying great attention. So at least you're taking away something from this session. Okay, great. Perfect. Perfect. Okay, so this just tells me that you guys understood it perfectly. So what we're going to do tomorrow, I'm just going to give you a brief overview of it. We'll do pivot tables. I was planning on doing that tomorrow, but we'll do it next week. So we'll just move it a bit behind. I'm just going to give you an example, but I want to see if some of you can try it and try doing it and see if you can come up with the answers for these three questions. So what you would have gotten from sorry, not this one. What you would have gotten from Pankaj is this sheet. You would have gotten this workbook from Pankaj. Okay. What this workbook is, from this, I'm just giving you guys some overview and some homework if you can. If you have time, if you don't have time, it's fine. I'm going to go over everything tomorrow, so it's not a compulsion. What this sheet is this is the food sales from 2023 and 2024. It's 2 different years, and you've gotten food sales from 2 different years. This is the question sheet. This is an exercise that we're going to try and do. You can use VLOOKUP, you can use index match, you can use whatever you want. Okay, I just want the answer to these 3 questions because methods are only as useful as the results. It doesn't matter whether you use index match or VLOOKUP, as long as you're getting to the answer of your research question. That is the most important thing in the professional world. So those 3 questions that we need answered are from 2023 to 2024, which are the new entries that we got in the ID. So they would have like a different ID compared to the ID that we, so from 2023 to 2024, which are new items that we've got, the new IDs. That is the first question. Second is, which of the old IDs have just gotten lost from 2023 to 2024? Which ones just got completely disappeared? And then finally, the last question, and this is probably the toughest one, figure out which of these combinations changed from 2023 to 2024. This happens in real data. This happens in real data. Your ID over time can just change to meaning something completely different. For example, Mahesh has been given a roll number 448. The next year, that roll number can just go to Likhet. That can happen. It can happen in real data, and in that case, you cannot, because you want to compare Mahesh in 2023 with Mahesh in 2024. You don't want to compare Mahesh in 2023 with Likhet in 2024. That would not work. That comparison, when you're doing actual data analysis, would not work. So in order to make sure that your data is clean and correct, what you need to do is make sure that these IDs still refer to the same thing that it referred to in the previous year. So try to find if you can. And then the final task, this you can try doing it. This you can try doing it. And this is to create a combined table with 2023 data and 2024 data, and give me one final table, which basically gives me the ID, the region, the city, category, and the product, quantity in 2023, quantity in 2024, unit in 2023, unit in 2024, and total price in 2023 and 4. So that would be a combined table of 2 years. But I only want those columns that match. I don't want any new entries. I don't want the cases that have been removed from 2023 to 2024. And I don't want any IDs that do not have the same combinations. This is an exercise, and if you can do it, it's fine. If you can't, we are going to do this again. We're going to solve this entire question tomorrow. So if you can do it, if you want to try, go ahead, be my guest. And you can, if you think you've done it, you can email it to me. I think I've put my email here. So, Yashasri, yeah, go ahead.
I wanted to ask, so when we are combining both the tables in the final final sheet, are we going to only mention the latest data, the updated data, and also the what's the point of combining if the data has changed in the next year and it will be updated data?
Yes, so I'll give you a real life example. Let's say you're comparing the performance of students in the from you want to compare. There is 30 students. You want to compare how those 30 students did in the first 6 months without tuition and in the next 6 months with tuition. Let's say that is what you want to compare. Okay. Would you be able to compare if there are 30 students here, but there are 35 students here? You can't do that because those 5 you cannot have in your data. In your comparison, you cannot keep those 5 in. Let's say there was one student that was in the first 6 months of your data, but is not in the next 6 months. You cannot have him either in your comparison report. And if a student's ID, which was referring to particularly, say, as I gave the example, if 448 was Hindol and it changes to Ashwini, in the next data, if the ID completely changes, then the comparison becomes flawed. Your data has huge errors. This is all part of data cleaning process. We do it so that we make sure that our IDs and our columns, our parameters are referring to the same person that we want to compare with 2023 and 2024. In 2023, if I want to see how in Eastern New York potato chips fared compared to 2024, I cannot have a different combination here. I cannot, instead of potato chips, I can't have chocolate chip cookies. Make sense?
Yeah, makes sense. So we are going to include all of that data, which is latest, and at the same time, which is not like replaced with something else. So of course, it's latest data, but then also we are including the past year data, which is still relevant.
Yes, correct.
Also,
Let's
I
go.
I
ahead.
actually had a question. Yeah. So I mean, at the data entry level, cannot we
Yeah.
centralize it to then? I mean, instead of like bringing in such inefficiencies at the data entry level as well, because it's changing at the data entry level, right? The people who are doing it, either bureaucrats are changing it because they do not know, they do not want to put in effort to like, okay, look back at the previous data. So then this data is being sent to data. I mean, people like you to then clean up whatever inefficient, like, because so cannot it be like, I mean, to make it more efficient at the very point where these data is the data is being entered, it can be centralized, and then every year it would have this, like, I mean, at least the categories would not change.
So this is a good question. I think I can respond to it, but I will also refer you to Pankaj on this one as well, because he is also an expert on this. The reason why we can't do that is because what we have to understand is that there are controlled variables and there are uncontrollable variables. Data collection as a process, it is tedious. During data collection, you cannot avoid human errors. It is
Okay.
basically impossible, especially when you're working with a huge data set. If you're working with a large data set, errors at the data collection point are unavoidable. Data cleaning is the point where you can control stuff, because that is a controlled environment. Data collection is not a controlled environment.
Okay.
And also, in order to have the most efficient data collection, you need a way larger pool of resources in terms of money and people, compared to having a clean data. You would need much less of a pool of resources and much smaller team, if it makes sense.
Okay, I think as far as I could understand, I mean, one way we could maybe understand is the people who are collecting data. So they
Yeah.
training them to then gather or like collect data, need data is difficult, and also, like, I mean, it would be more cumbersome. So you bring in people like maybe who can collect data, which would be easily, I mean, done, which can be done easily, and then you clean the data later on by using experts. So, like, I mean, you're not like, I mean, incorporating people who would initially, like, I mean, be focusing on bringing in clean data, rather they would be focusing on bringing data.
Yeah, so the point of efficiency is to maximize the potential, to the point of to the point of it being ideal, but it is never ideal. So data collection, you can optimize it as much as possible. You can make it as efficient as you want to, but there is always going to be human error present there. That next level of optimization can only be done on a data. So for example, let's give this group's example. There's 43 people here. Okay. I gave this workshop for 2 hours. Now, each one of you would not have the exact same understanding of VLOOKUP and index matching. It is impossible. It is impossible for an entire group to have the exact same understanding. You all will differ slightly in your understanding. Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
what happens is that there has to be a control point where all of that comes in, and where it is processed, and it is the impurities are removed. No matter how good agar aap kheti karte hain, and if you're farming, no matter what you do at that point, when the food is processed, in food packaging industries, food is processed and made sure that the impurities are still removed. That doesn't mean that the food processing companies do not work with farmers at the farm level. They do. They make sure that they follow the quality routines, but to follow it to the T is impossible. So what they do is then they take it to their plants and do more processing. Make sense? Roughly?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any inputs from you, Pankaj, on this?
I was just wondering, we are jumping from learning Excel to data quality management. Actually, collecting data involves a lot of, there are a lot of in stakeholder involves in it, and you cannot train every data collecting investigator. They will commit some error while collecting the data. So that's why we need this sort of training to match the data. Not in Excel, we also use multiple software to do so. So that is different thing. Gaurav, I think we will train you next after this Excel. We will bring some data management course for that. Data quality management. In that, we can train you how to collect data and what are the challenges they face in the field, and what are the problem when you collect data. You collect a large scale data with different team working on the same data collection, different agency working on the same data collection.
Sure. Thank you.
Any other questions before we wrap up? I saw a message. Let me just check my messages. So maybe keeping past copies is important. Yes, that also all falls under data management, Yashashvi. I can probably give you a brief idea, but data compliance and so the concept of data compliance and data governance is in itself a discipline. Many people follow it, and I would argue that is the field that is growing when we move into the future in a world with yeah. Oh, right. Oh, perfect. Sorry. Okay, then I will not go further deep into it.
So thank you so much, Heath, for today's session. I think we can end here, and the data you have asked to them for your assignment already has been shared in the drive, and the link has been shared in the WhatsApp group. So from there, they can download that second file of the data and they can practice the question you have given them for assignment. And thank you so much, everyone, for attending today's session. One thing which I would like to mention here, although I have seen that 8 to 10 people, those who registered, didn't attend it, or maybe because of some has texted us back that they are in the college or something. But I hope tomorrow is Sunday, holiday, everybody will be there. And Heath is putting a lot of effort addressing every questions and doubt. I think thank you so much, Heath. And if you have any problem from today's session, you can email us. You can email Heath. Also, Heath has shared email ID.
Yeah,
And if you have any particular data you are working on, if you have problem in that data, you can also ask about that, but later we will keep a different or maybe 5 to 10 minute session for that. So whatever data we are sharing, we are trying to give you a small data set on which you can work on. I hope today's session was very productive and interactive enough to make you understand what Heath had taught. And so Heath, today we can wrap up. And then tomorrow at the same time, I think 5:50, we can all assemble again online, and then
Yeah, perfect. Tomorrow we'll do that exercise, and if we have time, we'll dive into pivot tables as well. But yeah, I think we can leave it there.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.